All right, another episode of the Sad Powers podcast. Today, an old buddy of mine used to play poker with. Just show Manny, everybody.
Hey, thank you. No, I'm so
But,
this is so cool to do. So I
mhm.
appreciate you reaching out. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, man. What's going on with like the whole Cascade Sense thing?
Oh, okay. So if you're unfamiliar with me, which I presume most of you are, my name is Manny David. I run a YouTube channel actually. It's called CascadeScents, and I've acquired various fragrances, perfumes, colognes over the years. And at one point in late 2015, I decided to talk about them on a YouTube channel. And it's given me some cool opportunities as far as traveling the world and jobs here and there as well. So it's given me a good life despite not asking for much from it. Some people ask me like why talk about cologne or perfumes and whatnot. I mean, part of why I think it's really cool is because it's very unnecessary, and that might sound kind of weird. Because I mean, clothes are necessary, maybe transportation, food, things are like that. But I feel like cologne or perfume's like the ultimate like cherry on top. So it's very unnecessary, but that's why you want it, and that's kind of what drew me into it. And it's like a symbol of what I would like to say is stealth wealth, for example. Like you don't look too flashy, but you might be smelling something or smelling like something that could be worth, a substantial amount of money. So if you want to take some pride in that kind of cachet, it's also cool. But to be honest, I'm just having fun, and I'll be back to making videos really soon. So thank you for asking.
Man, that's an awesome detailed answer. I love it. It's
Gotcha.
great. Do you have like a favorite cologne?
Yeah, totally. So historically, one of them it's kind of discontinued. So if you guys are familiar with like pop culture and whatnot, there's a fashion designer named Tom Ford, and he used to be the head of Gucci, for example. And while he was there, the last cologne he made when he was there, or that was directed under his guidance per se, it's called Gucci Pour Homme 2, or Gucci Pour Homme 2, and that was released back in I believe 2007, 2008, but got discontinued about 3 years ago. Uh, it's super good. If you can find it under $100, then I suggest you jump on it. Yeah.
Oh, so it's kind of more expensive. Like, is like they sell them on eBay, stuff like that. It's like a
Yeah,
collector's item in a sense.
totally. Yeah, it's to a certain extent a collector's item at this point, just because it's no longer heavily stocked at places like the Bay or Sephora, places like that, just because it was recently discontinued. So it's no longer in production whatsoever. But I highly recommend it. It smells kind of like fresh yet spicy tea, if that makes any sense. But I think it's cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have a favorite perfume too for the ladies?
Yeah, for the ladies, something I enjoy smelling off of y'all. I mean, if there's one that you can readily smell, like say if you're out and about at the mall or at Shoppers Drug Mart or something like that, look up a fragrance called Chanel Chant So Fresh, which is a green circle bottle, and I think it smells like spring. To be honest, very citrusy and somewhat flowery, but doesn't choke you out. It doesn't feel like a perfumey, if that makes any sense. So it's a pretty scent. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. What about like a good cheap cologne for
Right.
people that can't afford like the $100 bottle or whatever?
Yeah, totally. And there's things that you might encounter that might be between 80 $100,
Hmm.
might be pushing 400 or 500, believe it or not. We're not going to go that route right now, but as far as something that will cost you maybe the same price as a large pizza and a ham sandwich, uh so maybe like 25 $30 maybe. There's a brand called Azzaro, who's very famous in the 90s for a cologne called Chrome, which is readily available if you go to places like Shoppers Drug Mart and whatnot. But online, you can find their fragrances for dirt cheap. And they actually came out with a fragrance called Azzaro Wild Mint as of sometime late last year, early this year. And this is kind of weird, but it smells like toothpaste. I still think it smells good,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, for $25-$30, I don't think it's a bad investment. So
Yeah, when you said wild mint, gum was the first thing that popped into my head. But
yeah. I mean, gum, toothpaste, like they
yeah.
both make your breath smell nicer, I guess. So yeah,
Mhm.
why not? Yeah. Mhm.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Do you still like do the UFC fight reviews at all?
Oh gosh. Okay, so that's hilarious that you mentioned that, just because back in the day on YouTube, I would have
Mm.
some fun as far as just talking about uh, UFC and whatnot, mixed martial arts. There's the UFC happening right now. So I mean, topically, I've bounced around YouTube wise, but honestly, it's something I haven't really done since 2014. I want to say,
Mhm.
and I mean, it's not like I've lost interest in it. Like I still very much like that stuff. It's just I got into other things as well that aren't as talked about. So I took it upon myself to perhaps expose certain audiences to something that's, I think, also really cool. There's so
Mhm.
many MMA outlets. I don't think people really care about what I have to say, but I mean, I'm glad you asked. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Would you ever think about like getting back into something like that, or is it you think you're done forever?
That's a good question. I can't say never, to be honest. Like I've
Right.
done podcasts here and there for that stuff, and
Hmm.
um, it's fun to talk about. Theory fighting per se. I also don't think I have enough pedigree in maybe my opinion mattering as well. And it's not like I feel that way in fragrance as well either. It's just like it's hard to make that seem entertaining when there is this cachet that other people have in which they have maybe real-time combat experience, or they've been doing this for a number of years, blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
I would come off as a casual, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it doesn't feel as compelling on paper, and that's why I'm kind of distance myself from it.
Hmm.
This what I'm talking about now is a little bit something that I feel I'm more professional at, but just depends on your level of passion, I guess. If I really wanted to, I guess I could. It's just I decided not to. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there anyone else like even doing what you're doing with like the reviews on colognes and stuff like that?
Oh, good question. Yeah, there's a ton of people doing this around the world.
Hmm.
We're talking like six figures of subscribers each. One of my friends has 1 million.
Oh wow.
Uh, I don't have that many. I only have about 18,000. I'm very infrequent, but um, this year's been tough as far as Miss Rona and all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, arguably I have all this time to be able to cook stuff up and upload and things like that. But a part of me was also gutted with the fact that that kind of stuff was happening, um, and just didn't take too much solace in believing that what I'm talking about is that important within the grand sphere of all things right now.
Hmm.
So I took a break as a result, but also um, I was getting some things ready, some other projects like on and off camera and whatnot that I've been working on. Work has also been tough because I, you know, I'm usually away on business and things like that, but I am clearly not right now because of the work situation. In case I need to fly somewhere or stay somewhere, it's just kind of sketchy on both fronts. So, I've been trying to stay busy, but at the same time, it was kind of hard to be motivated at first throughout all of this.
For sure, man. I have a lot of like small YouTubers that actually watch my channel, so I feel like they would want me to ask something like this, where it's like, what would you recommend as far as like maybe like advertising, or like how do you get subscribers at the beginning? How do you get that ball rolling?
I think it's not rocket science. I honestly think that doing this is pretty easy as far as in theory. I
Hmm.
think it's the intestinal fortitude you possess that will propel you forward as far as the metrics and whatnot. So I think it's really important that you just quote unquote don't complain about the situation that you were in when you first started. At the end of the day, it's just what it is. This is a free platform. We don't deserve any of this. This is what's the word? This is like essentially a privilege.
Yeah.
Back in the day when there was no YouTube or YouTube partner program, like you were in the dark as far as potentially doing anything media related, as far as getting monetization that quickly.
Right.
And maybe at one point it was more lax with what is advertiser friendly for content creators and whatnot. But the bigger the site gets, the more eyes are on it. Um, things change as far as who's paying the most money to advertise on the site. They might not like the iDubbbz of the world or the H3H3s, things like that. There's nothing wrong with that, with what they do. And I love that stuff. It's just, don't be surprised when you run into roadblocks when you are doing debated like titles and things that you probably wouldn't want to bring about as far as professionally speaking in other realms of work. Right now, YouTube wise, it's been kind of vanilla to a certain extent, but that's the thing. Find something you like that's hopefully advertiser friendly and adapt to the algorithm. Very important. You typically will not be granted monetization unless you have what, 1,000 hours watched, as well
No,
as
4,000 hours watched, 1,000 subscribers.
1,000 subscribers and
Mhm.
4,000 hours watched.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get that in a week. Like the thing
Yeah.
is, and the thing is with you potentially feeling that that is super dire. It's not if you're doing what you are supposed to do to begin with anyway, because right now, like, what does the YouTube algorithm want out of 4,000 hours watched and 1,000 subscribers? They already want you to do what they want me to do, and that's upload every day, if not every other day, hopefully. So consistency is key. I'm quoting Ray Kroc from McDonald's right now, like Papa John did on the H3 podcast when he said, "Your quality is only as good as your consistency." It's so fucking true, you know. And so you have your consistency, but your consistency also counts as far as your watch time. Very important,
Mhm.
So if you can average at least between 50 and 80, which would be brilliant, um, percentage watch time watched across 10-minute videos. So say they're watching 5 to 8 minutes. If you can average that, you're more likely to be put in recommended sections of the genre of video that you are in. That's hugely paramount. But to be able to get that is like you're not gonna have the opportunity to get that if you weren't uploading frequently to begin with. You know what I mean? So when I say the word consistency, I mean consistently uploading and consistently getting people to watch throughout the entire video. Not like we rush to the end or we skip this, this, and this.
Mhm.
No, you have to be compelling enough as a creator, whether it's visually, whether it's sonically, whether it's with your editing, as far as them keeping their eyes glued on your shit. Now, you might say that you're a podcaster, and that's fine. Is your stuff worthy of perhaps someone fucking off and cleaning their house with you blasting on Google Home or something like that? I hope so. But at the end of the day, you also have to compete with, you know, all these comedians, podcasts, and these other people.
Right.
And some people think that right now, oh, it's a brilliant time to start a YouTube channel, a podcast, this or that, right now. And that's true, objectively speaking. However, you have to understand that when it comes to maybe barring podcast format, say if it's a YouTube channel, it's actually easier to get views when people are working and have money and have their 9 to 5, and then on their 10 to 15-minute break, they can watch a 10-minute YouTube video, and boom, you get compensated as a creator. You're gonna get that view no matter what. But right now, when people are off, actually, it's not easy to get views. It's not easier, and here's why: you're competing with Spotify, you're competing
Mhm.
with YouTube Premium, you're competing with Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, you know. So
Mhm.
on-demand media right now is king, and the fact that people have more time to do things means they have more time to select things that require more time. So where does that fit in free content creators on platforms like this? It's really fucking difficult. And that's why it's paramount that you are consistent and you have people consistently watching throughout.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a great answer. Right now, I get like average of like 15 minutes on like an hour video, which kind of sucks. So I just have some people that come on, they leave a comment, and then they like fuck off. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, and that's not easy to deal with. For example, like you and I are having this discussion, and I might come off as absolute to a certain extent with how I'm presenting these quote unquote observations, but they're facts at the same time. I don't take pride in saying this. This is just what you have to do, you know? So if you don't think you're cut out for this, or if you're not doing this, I come from a sporting background as well, you know, as far as playing sports uh, throughout certain parts of my life. I think what's really important about having something like that, or even playing video games or doing anything competitively, is reflection. So when sports are on, say if this was normal times and there's a highlights on, you could always watch the highlights and see where people screwed up, or, you know, points of emphasis, things like that. How many fucking creators are in a rut as far as metrics, and they're not watching their own shit? They can't figure out what they're doing wrong. It's that clairvoyance that you need, that's compulsory to propel you to the next level. Some people are automatically, you know, embedded with it in their system, as far as I'm going to make some dope shit because I have this eye for what the consumer wants. And then they are able to negotiate throughout the process, upload it, and then the results come in. Now, maybe that's not you, but then I asked some of these people who start podcasts, who start YouTube channels. I asked them, who are your favorite YouTubers? Who are your favorite podcasters? Why aren't you doing some of the things that you like seeing from them? People are like, oh, okay. Well, like I can't afford that mic. Oh, I can't afford that camera. I can't afford to edit. I don't know how. What do you mean you don't know how? There's tutorials. Like there's this.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me that you want to start X, Y, and Z, you don't have the equity or the capital to do it, you have bigger problems than starting this shit, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And while that sounds austere, while that sounds like steely and like perhaps unfriendly, it is. But you know what else is unfriendlier is when you're doing all of these things and then you see the zeros. Like, I mean, I'm not talking about zeros as far as commas. I'm talking about zeros as far as watch time, the subscribers, crap like that. You're not getting that because you didn't take the process to get there seriously enough, you know, and you don't have the clairvoyance for the end result either. So if I spend money on camera gear or a mic or this or that, best believe that's an investment, you know? And it's not like doing these things that, oh, I dislike doing this. Oh, I'm doing this because I have to. It's, you just want to see the results come in. No, you have to have fun with this. You have to have fun learning about the tech, the process. And if you don't, I don't know, hopefully you're rich and you can hire editors or you can hire people who have this. I don't think that's the case for most of us. You know what I mean? So, you know, for the way I see it is like control what you can control if possible, and don't bitch about it just because. Holy crap! Imagine if you were that wallflower thinking about starting some sort of platform or being on some sort of platform and getting paid for it. Imagine if you had those thoughts 10, 15 years ago. Well, guess what? We existed 10, 15 years ago. We didn't have those thoughts, you know? So the fact that we have those now is a blessing. And if you don't want to adapt to it as far as what it's requiring of you as of this moment, then I think that's kind of disrespectful, to be honest.
Man, well said. I love it. If you were to start like another channel about like something completely different, what would it be about?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So I'm actually in the process of doing that. So
Okay, awesome.
I mean, it's not like me trying to promote myself. I don't know how.
No, I want you to promote yourself as much as you can.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. That's
because
what
I'm
this
not.
is about.
Oh, well, thank you. Because I'm not sure of what I'm going to call it yet. And actually, this sounds kind of crazy as far as like on some business shit and or, you know, just some personal shit for anyone. And I do this regularly, actually, and something I think is very important. You might say that Snapchat's whack or Instagram sucks or this or that. That's fine. Make those accounts anyway. If you have a name or an entity that is yours and stuff, seal those, you know, URLs up, seal those ats up, you know, just because someone else might do it because they think they're slick or because, you know, they didn't know that this was already under someone else's name. So whenever I think of a name that I might potentially want to use for this, this, and this, Manny David this or CascadeScents that,
Hmm.
and there's a new platform, I always get on that shit. Just so no one else will under my name. A. And B, um, names that I've been using as far as getting on those platforms, including YouTube and Instagram and other things that I'm already regularly using as CascadeScents. I want to start this. Like the thing is, I don't think my lifestyle is that cool, although it might look it because I've gone to X, Y, and Z, across the world so far. I want to start this channel that's not just cologne perfume related, but across all aspects of like vanity per se. So I want to talk about maybe wristwatches or maybe travel, maybe food, drink, again, perfume as well. I'll talk about that as well. Maybe clothes, maybe shopping. I want to kind of be encompassing of everything. And I think that's a little bit more fun just because talking about one topic is sometimes tiresome. And I actually do appreciate what I do heavily just because the way I look at it as an enthusiast, I actually have grown to have an affinity of someone who's a master at something rather than a jack of all trades, master of none.
Hmm.
So in order for me to talk about all these subjects, the ones I have mentioned in which I'm not going to sound like a dumbass, like I'll have to come completely correct as far as making sure that I don't slip up, talking about these things. I'm not an expert in some of the fields I talked about, but I just don't want to sound like a jackass, when I do talk about them. But I also, want to present it in potentially a more fun and what's the word, utilitarian perspective as well. So hopefully there's necessity for something like that. I've seen people try to start, quote unquote variety channels, and all of a sudden they just run with the one topic that suits them the best. And arguably, I've already been doing that despite my initial intention with the Cologne channel to be that. But I really want to do something in which I can talk about anything and reap from it. So fingers crossed. I've toyed between a couple of names. Manny GMT, for example, might be one of them, just because GMT has to do with time and travel, and it's also the name of a style of watch. So if I decided to talk about crap like this, I could. But it's in the air right now. I don't like saying this because it sounds really like you're taking stuff for granted, but right now we do have time, so might as well make use of it, like wisely. Um, and if you can't do this right now, if you're not cut out for it right now, when we have gratuitous amount of time, then you're probably not going to be cut out for it when we return back to normal.
Hmm.
So this is the time to start. No doubts there, but as a result, you need to start properly.
For sure, man. And with this channel, like, why not put all that stuff just on your main channel? Why do you want to start a second channel?
Because of two reasons, really petty ones. One is it's called CascadeScents. The URL is made as CascadeScents, and I think it's corny if I were to change the URL to something different, and I were to have a business card that says "look up CascadeScents," and it will and like they'll think that this is just perfume channel. If I were to put that on business card or something like that,
Hmm.
which I have already done. Uh, so it would be difficult. I don't actually. It wouldn't be difficult because you can change the way your name appears, but the URL does not change. So
Hmm.
that's why it's difficult for me because I'm picky like that. That's number one. Number two, um, it's a challenge. Starting fresh is fun. I I'll relish that. A lot of people won't. They feel like it's so dire as far as, oh my god, I have to hit this amount of subscribers, this and that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, people watch your shit if it's good. If you have the tendency to check the boxes of what people are looking for
Hmm.
upon entertainment, then you'll be fine. Like, for example, is your topic catchy? Is it something that you would actively search for? Or if you saw that in recommended, would you want to be interested in it by clicking on it? Is the thumbnail nice? But that's just getting the click. What about when you are speaking or displaying what you're displaying? Is that going to be, again, compelling? So for example, if I'm doing a topic, in my world, in fragrances, I were to do top 10 fragrances for summer, it's June in 2 days. I'm pretty sure that's going to get clicks, you
Mm-hmm.
know, especially when people get exactly what they clicked there for, or and then some, you know. So be specific, with what you want to talk about. And I feel like I've been specific with CascadeScents, and to all of a sudden revert strategy would be too much of a paradigm shift, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that like before, that I was like, when I was like looking up strategies for YouTube or whatever, and it's good to find like a niche and stick to that niche and not try to be too all over the place with stuff.
That
So that
is
makes a lot of
the
sense.
consensus now. And
Mhm.
that's something I've lamented already in this cast, in which it's cool to watch people who just specialize at that, and are just
Mhm.
pros at that. Like, for example, if I were to, look up things that typically are good, usually people who stick to that niche are more respected in that world as a result for it. If I want a
Mhm.
nice watch, I'll look at Rolex. If I want nice cologne, I'll look at Creed. If I want nice, basketball shoes, I'll look at Jordan. Something like that.
Right.
And this mentality is kind of carried on to a certain extent when it comes to YouTube, or anything else. So that's cool. Now, you can somewhat supersede that if you are that excellent of a salesman slash communicator to be able to do so. So I'm going to bring up the one example, and that's Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's great, obviously, whether you like him or not. It's just he's able to talk about nearly anything with nearly anyone, and he reaps views for it,
Mhm.
which is quite interesting, just because um, more often than not, you don't really get that out of some other topical podcasts. They stick to their niche, they stick to people in that niche, and that's it. So to be, you know, like to have that cult of personality that overwhelms the the blockades that we just aforementioned is really, really special. So if you're that person, fair play to you. Great. Maybe you'll be the next Joe Rogan or Howard Stern or this. So over the moon for anyone who is,
Yeah, that'd be awesome. What do you think about Joe Rogan moving to Spotify?
incredible. For a couple reasons. So Spotify doesn't own the Joe Rogan experience. That's something
Mhm.
people have to know. So what that is, it's licensing. He owns his shit. They are basically the sole distributor for the podcast, past, present, future, come June 1st, 2021, to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
that's it. So if you want to watch Joe Rogan Experience, if you want to listen to it, you can only go to Spotify come then, which is sick for him because Spotify is the biggest, long-term listening platform out there right now, barring him when he is on YouTube. That's
Mhm.
that's how powerful he is. So to reap what? How many million off the bat, like for however many years or months he's licensing is crazy. So it's great because he still owns his shit, and it's just they have the rights to like this, like kind of like a sports league or a show. So for example, something like so there's a studio who has a TV show and got canceled by Fox, for example, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mhm.
But those people still want to do the show, and then NBC picks them up, which is what happened. Like that's kind of what that is to a certain extent, because they don't exactly own the show, but they own your ability to broadcast there, right? And
Right.
that's what Joe's done there. And it's very shrewd. And for single like person like bosses and entities to be able to do that and get paid 8 9 figures is crazy, and it's not going to affect the integrity of what he does because they want him to continue to just do him. You know what I mean? It's just
Mhm.
again uh, a different platform for largely what is the same product. So I think it's brilliant.
Do you think he's gonna lose viewers because of it? Like people that won't go over to
The,
Spotify?
so some people are perplexed as far as potentially him losing viewers and stuff like that, and maybe at first, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I have my YouTube guy, so I have
Mhm.
YouTube Premium as well. I have YouTube Music, and it's not like I'll be able to listen to the cast there or on uh, Apple Music podcast,
Mhm.
using the app. or using the podcast app within the uh, endemic to the Mac OS as well. So only going to Spotify, it might be a hurdle for most, but Spotify's already number one. You know, it's not like he's going to Luminosity like fucking Michael Rappaport or something like that. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and fucking charging people to pay for this shit. You know, like it's not like that. It's still free. You know.
Yeah, that's a
Now, if
good
you
point.
want to pay for premium, you can. Just like if you want to pay for premium YouTube, you can. You don't have to do
Right.
these things, right? It's like people are like treating this like I've heard some bullshit like because I've done streams on Instagram as well, and people are like, "Oh, why are you streaming on Instagram? I don't have it." I'm like, bro, it's free and it's number one at what it is. So like, why are you talking that shit? You know, just like with Spotify, like, and Spotify is kind of different because it's like commenters on YouTube, for example, that'll comment at me for using Instagram here and there sometimes. And I'm like, well, I get that that's kind of a paradigm shift between what YouTube is and what Instagram is. Having Spotify is very similar to listening to podcasts on YouTube. It's not a big deal. Get a fucking account if you want to support your boy Joe Rogan. And if you're supporting the man that is YouTube more than you are your guy, you know, I'm pretty sure Joe would rather have his more ardent fans anyway. So, you know, that's fine. And to be honest, I'm gonna presume at least half of them already have Spotify because who the fuck doesn't except me, you know? So,
I don't have it either. Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about that. But how do you feel about it? I'm wondering, as someone who's perhaps budding podcaster.
My main thing, I'm just putting everything on YouTube, right? So I don't even put them on any of the podcast platforms right now. So I'm happy because I hope that somehow I get like one or two of his old fans like find me and they're like, all right, I'll listen to the poor man's Joe Rogan instead because they don't want to go on Spotify for whatever reason.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm just gonna ask you something because
All right.
I think this is really important. How many podcasters you know that have made it big on podcasting were not big at something media-wise to begin with, or
That's a good point, actually. None.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? None. Yeah, I can think of maybe the starters. They used to be known as Basketball Jones. They had a basketball podcast until they were hired by the Score, until they were hired by the fucking NBA. Like those guys like made it when no one else did.
Right.
And
That
I
that,
think
that
that's
was when podcasts were starting, though, right? So they had that advantage.
true.
Yeah.
So who's done it lately? And all of a sudden, kids are telling each other, "I gotta start a podcast, this, that, blah, blah, blah."
Hmm.
And the problem with that mentality is that, believe it or not, like people are going to podcasts because of the stars who are doing them to begin with.
Right.
You know, these people are bringing cachet to the podcast, not developing it there. You know, and now I'm
Hmm.
sure that they'll harness their podcast skills and become really great at it, like a Your Mom's House or a Joe Rogan Experience or Bobby Lee's or Theo Vaughn's or someone like that. But like these guys can do Netflix specials and shit. They don't need this shit. I mean, they like it's nice to have, but I'm just saying,
Hmm.
like they have this because of everything else, you know. And people who just want to have this, the problem is you're not differentiating yourself enough through just audio and a good interview or communication. It's very hard. So I always tell people if you want to do something new media wise, just bite the bullet, take a bet on yourself, get the gear, get on YouTube, because now you have the advantage of visuals, you have the
Hmm.
advantage of you as an orator, so sonically speaking, you can get more creative as far as potentially bringing more emotion to it by making people laugh and this and that because they can view everything. Doing this just via audio is hard. How many people our age listen to the radio and there's that next great shock jock or something like that? You don't see that shit. And that's the thing. Like if you want to differentiate yourself and become great at this per se, um, you have to work somewhere else first. I truly believe that. So I know you have a YouTube channel, for example. Like if you were to go somewhat viral doing that stuff, this would do a lot better here. And it's not like your other platforms would do better because of this. if that makes any sense. I really think the podcast, kind of like what I talked about perfume, as far as wearing things, is like a cherry on top. Is that your profile, your resume, almost has to be sick elsewhere before you even consider something like this. So some people have asked me, should I just do MMA podcasts like you did earlier? Should I continue doing something like this? And again, I really believe that you do need some level of prominence in order for people to be checking for you here, just because, again, it's just way too hard to differentiate yourself as it stands. And then something I've lamented about some people in comparison to others. So if we're going to talk about Joe Rogan again, he still gets views regardless of who's on. You see how important that is?
Yeah.
He doesn't even need a guest.
Mm-hmm.
You care about the cult of personality of him and him being able to shed light on something interestingly because you trust him and or you find him edutaining. So it could be about, he can be talking about chemtrails with Eddie Bravo, or he can be talking about, some other conspiracy or weed or this or that with some right-wing politician, or he can be talking about, some other intellectual dark web stuff. He can be talking about sports. And no one gives a shit. They're tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important. Like, if you're going to do a platform like this that becomes a little bit more encompassing, can you do that as well? And that's not easy. And I've spoke about this with other people as far as quote unquote becoming that educated, becoming that cultured. And I was listening to a podcast by one of my favorite artists and former battle rappers, which you might know of. Well, you will know of, Dumbfounded. And that's
awesome.
great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a podcast, I want to say a few months ago, and Disaster was on it. Disaster, also very prominent battle rapper. And Disaster said something that is the opposite of a lot of battle rap dweebs out there. And that is being like, worldly and cultured and stuff like that. He was going on about how he can like read someone's name or listen to their accent and automatically tell where they're from. You know what I mean? And being able to relate to someone on that level. And like shit like that, like I feel like a lot of people who have this knee-jerk reaction to want to start something, they haven't even lived like that, or haven't been anywhere. And I'm like, that's true. And I'm not trying to meme on you or anyone else in the city, but like I know you've seen people lament this. Oh, I should start a YouTube channel. I should start a podcast. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's great. I'm glad you have that ambition, but you also have the ambition to live. You know what I mean? On top of that, like,
yeah.
How do you feel about that, as far as bringing something to the table in which you can perhaps empathize with people watching you?
I get what you're saying with that. The whole reason that I started the whole podcast thing is because, like, I feel like YouTube pushes your channel more if you're monetized. They want you to watch ads. Like, if you watch one of my videos and it gets all the way to the end, it auto plays. It never auto plays another one of my videos. Whereas if you're watching a Joe Rogan video or something, it'll auto play to another one of his videos, right? It'll auto play next always to something that's monetized. So I was like, fuck, I just got to get my channel to monetize just to be like on a even playing field with everybody else. So I'm getting the subscribers, right? I'm like almost at like 500, but I had like barely any watch hours. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just start a podcast. It's easy. You talk for like an hour. If like even 10 people watch it, that's 10 hours right there. And that actually helped a lot. I had like 39 hours, I think, before I started this. And now I have like 450 or something around.
Good.
Yeah.
And this is being simulcasted or uploaded to YouTube as well, as far as trying
It's
to support
only YouTube. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. So about this, I see why that's daunting as far as trying to fulfill hours watched. But the part of this is also to quote unquote go viral, to have thousands as far as numbers being either subscribing to you or watching you simultaneously. That's very important. To be reliant on the people who are only watching breaks the number one rule of broadcasting, believe it or not. The number one rule of broadcasting is to get new viewers. Like, it just is. If it's not that, then why are you doing this? Because the people who are already watching you, they're rolling with you. You know what I mean? As long as you don't change why they subscribe to begin with, you have to actively focus on why people aren't subscribed to begin with too.
Yeah.
So the best way to do that, like when you're first starting out, is these short format videos, as far as potentially getting more of them in, because you can just clear your 4,000 hours watch by having 100 people keep watching the shit out of you. Okay, like I think that's very attritional. Trust me, it's very easy. Like once you have the ball rolling in other regards. The problem with that is that it's expensive. I mentioned this. You know, and the thing is, a lot of the people who are starting to pop off now, raw, out of nowhere when it comes to YouTube, are people who like came correct to begin with all this gear, with the lighting, with this, with some celebrity. You know, you have people like fucking Jack Black or Will Smith, first video, 7 million views. You know, that's daunting. I understand. Like they're monetized right after the hour they upload.
Right.
Which means you have to bust your ass even more. Because trust me, those guys bust their ass in other facets of what they do in order for this to be easy for them.
Yeah.
If you think that, like cheating the system to a certain extent, not cheating, but getting around it in a way that is kind of temporary, like fine. But this is going to be the future of your channel unless you adapt to what the algorithm wants out of you to begin with. And that's where it's really annoying. I'm not going to lie. That's not easy. So,
but I am uploading every day, right? Like, what else does the algorithm want that I'm not doing?
And I get that. But for example, like barring long format stuff, if you're doing like a skit, is that clearing how many views and what's the watch time on that?
I don't really do skits anymore. Like ever since I started this, I just focus on only the podcast stuff.
Yeah. And how many podcasts, again, and now I'm lamenting a similar point previously, are started by, maybe, someone who isn't big at something already. And they
All
start
of them, pretty much
right?
all of them are like, no one's even close to famous.
Well, like what I'm saying is that when it comes to the biggest ones who seemingly don't try at this, like I'm talking again, various sports podcasts like Damian Lillard's or CJ McCollum's or Bobby Lee's or Dumbfounded's or Theo Vaughn's, Joe Rogan's. These guys were big elsewhere.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that.
And like podcast is like literally the least. I mean, it's the last thing I would do if YouTube was your chosen platform. Like it's something that would be something I want to do most, maybe, and that's very noble to think. Yeah, I want to do this. Yeah, absolutely, let's do this. But I need to develop some cachet in order for people to believe in my my communication ability with not only who I'm talking about, but making that compelling for whoever's watching. That's the struggle. I again, I don't envy it. Like, and I've done casts. I've got views with it, and this is not me flexing. It's just the reason I was able to do those things is because I went through what you were going through when you first started to, and that again sucks. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But what do you do when you're listening to cast, for example? Like, because I look for this shit, and people might not tell themselves that they're looking for this shit, but they are. A, the brand name, whoever's presenting it. That's a big deal. 2, there's a quality there. Lighting, the audio. Are you talking into those really expensive mics and stuff like that, things like that? Do they have sponsors? Is that legit? Like anything that can dress it up with furthermore legitimacy, then it might just be already, and like if you're not going to take that seriously, or if you're not going to get there, like how much outreach can you potentially have? So I think right now, like what's getting clicks? what's getting what's obtaining watch time for other people. Uh, can you perhaps discuss that more? Do something hot that is also something that you could be known for simultaneously. So uh, I wish I had the answers to all those questions, but those are clearly questions that some people have answered, and that's who I'm like, oh, good for them.
Hmm. I think I should be maybe like sticking to one topic each person that I talk to or whatever, and then putting that in the title, and then say if someone searches that topic like ghosts or whatever, then they'll come across that and they might be able to click on it, right?
Right. Yeah. And then if you were going to do that, that's lovely. And I get it. The thing is, that might be like that's kind of the opposite of what podcasters stand for to a certain extent, because podcasters are watched because they are watched because of their cult of personality, right?
Right.
Like,
Sometimes people want to hear what people have to say about that certain subject or whatever, though, right?
yeah, but then you become very fringe or niche, because that's way too far in between. You need to be watched for everything, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, and I get that. Like, for example, here's when that will matter. If I'm listening to, Theo Vaughn talking to a comedian, I'm talking, or I hear Bobby Lee doing that, or maybe Joe Rogan talking to some, professor at Harvard. But then there's this all-encompassing topic that might affect everyone, but it might affect someone like Joe more, say if it has to do with weed. I'll probably want to listen to him talk about that more than
Right.
like the guys I aforementioned. So you're right. Maybe there's a certain someone, maybe like yourself, in which you might be more compelling to be heard from. But that's still very fringe in comparison to the 99% of other topics out there that you could potentially be on with the cult of personality you've already garnered, or commanded. So I think that's super important. It's it's not easy, but it's a struggle. You gotta keep at it. I'm looking at your channel right now, and the fact that you're consistent is awesome. I love it, and
Thanks.
I'm gonna have to check out some of these shits, because like this is pretty sick. I Are you on SoundCloud and or like
No, my podcast isn't
iTunes
on
RSS?
anything else. Yeah, it's not on anything except for YouTube.
It's pretty easy to get on those platforms, like on to have an RSS to podcast on like Apple, and things like that. Something to
Yeah,
look
I'm
at.
kind of like I just like I want this YouTube thing so bad though. It's like with that like I just want to like focus all my energy on this and I don't know, like I feel like maybe I should and like maybe that would even help bring people to my YouTube,
Who
but
are your
I don't
favorite
know.
YouTubers? Now I'm
Pardon?
asking you this question. Who are your favorite YouTubers?
Well, probably Filthy Frank was my favorite of all time. He's like I guess technically retired now. He's Joji, but
Okay, so no,
yeah.
on some fuck shit. I have a question for you. Filthy Frank or Joji?
Joji, no, like I love
No, no, no,
him.
no, no, no. Who do you prefer
That's what I'm
personally?
saying, Joji. Yeah, I'm saying
Really? Oh, bro, you're not. Okay, here's the thing, because like now we're like now I'm on some fuck shit too. But like, I thought you were danker than that. Come
man,
on, Chad.
obviously, like I love Pink Guy. I've done so many Pink Guy. Like that's how my YouTube
I know
shit
you did.
started. I was uploading Pink Guy songs, um, ukulele covers and shit. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I think he's happy now and he's successful, and I just like I've loved everything he's done. So the fact that like he just finally seems happy, man. Like I
I
don't think
think
he
he's
was happy
relieved
as Filthy Frank.
after all those years of demonetization and
Yeah.
all that crap. Now he's found something catch all. He's with the 8-8 Rising, with every other Asian rapper.
But
you know,
his videos get tens of millions of views, bro. Like they're
yeah,
up there,
no, and
crushing.
they're promoted, unlike Pink Guy was, because that
Yeah,
shit wasn't advertiser friendly.
yeah.
So to see him legitimize is great, but like uh, I don't know if it's nostalgia speaking, or maybe like I'm into some like more danker shit recently, but I fuck with Pink Guy. Robin
Yeah,
King,
dude.
that shit was hard.
Yeah,
Like,
Pink Eye's the man. I want him to do
oh,
another
bro,
Pink Eye album. That'd be so sick. Just
It just
one final one.
yeah, it's just an icing on the cake, you know, like
Yeah.
would be cool. I mean, that's my shit, you know, like I think that what's it called? Like that, or what else was sick? I'm thinking skits now. Like Pink Guy versus the Tap Brothers, that shit was sick. Uh him doing the Weeaboo video, like
Yeah, the Weeaboos, I covered that song too. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good video. Fucking, just he's got so many, man.
Mm-hmm. You're fat and gay, like that
Yeah, the
it's hard.
friend zone song. Yeah.
Yeah, friend zone. Oh, bro, I love it. And
Hmm.
you know what? So like when I ask people like crap like that, like you know, who's your favorite this or that? Like I respect the answer because I think he's sick too. But it's just like YouTube was not fucking with him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like if you're trying to do stuff like that too, they won't fuck with you either. So he reverted. He did music, and it's like really good. So good for him. Um, but like you know, like what about presenters? Because clearly you want to present if you're doing a podcast thing. Like, would you present other topics uh like maybe or maybe in another form? Maybe it's not just this. Like
Hmm.
I'll watch someone like Andrew Schulz, who's also a comedian as well. He does the Brilliant Idiots podcast with Charlamagne
Yeah,
tha
I
God.
love him, man. He's awesome. He does
Uh,
crazy crowd work all the time.
big fan. Yeah.
Hmm.
So like as far as like his stand-up stuff, so he'll upload that. But then he'll do those you know, basically
Fashion, is that what you're talking about? Fashion.
oh there's that. Or he'll
Yeah.
or when he's just on a chair and then he pans to the other camera and he's like doing a monologue too. When he does
Right.
stuff like that. Like but there's every aspect of his content is still something like yeah, Andrew Schulz would do that. Yeah, he would upload a stand up. Yeah, he would do the YouTube style of presenting. Yeah, he would
Hmm.
do podcasting. If you're only podcasting, for example, you aren't spreading your wings like that. And he's someone who's trying to spread his wings despite having a cachet in comedy. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff that I would look at doing. You know?
Right. You remember that "What's Inside Your Butthole" song?
Yeah.
So when that came out, I covered it, and that I was like one of the first people to cover it, I think, because like I got like over 2,000 views with that one, um, and that's like my most viewed video. But I got no subscribers from that. It's like everyone that watched that video, no one watched like another one of my videos. None of them subscribed.
Mm-hmm. And
So
that's
it's
why going viral is hard because,
yeah,
and I said this earlier, Ray Kroc said this, who is the McDonald's guy. And again, Papa John talked about this on the H3 podcast. And that's your quality is only as good as your consistency. So I always tell people who quote unquote go viral to a certain extent with a clip, doesn't mean anything because I mean, it means something while you're the flavor of the week, but are you compelling outside of that? Can you transcend that?
hmm
More often than not, the answer is no. You know, so I look in the past as far as people who've had a moment who have doubled down on it, and fair play to them. Like
hmm
I'm bringing up a really fucking stupid reason or a person or example. Sorry, I actually rate her, so I don't want to say she's a stupid person. Bad Baby, you know, Danielle Bregoli.
yeah.
Like she made you can't tell me that she didn't make the most out of that opportunity.
Yeah, she really did, man. It's fucked up. She's fucking rich, famous. And guy's like, money's still coming in. She's like a
Mhm.
rapper now. Who would have thought? That's so fucked up.
And you know what, like so to hear her spit some like stupid bars is like okay, we want to check for it because like that's funny, and people will just like say she's bad because this and this. I'm like, okay, first off, she's a teenager, and secondly, her flow was tight, like it's nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and she's got
um
tons of fans now, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like that, see, like that's how to go viral properly, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I remember back in the day when like Tay Zonde went viral, you know, and for a while he tried to make the most out of that, you know, and that's fair, you know, but right now it's arguable that you can be a Bad Baby fan without even having watched that, you know, Dr. Phil clip. And I can't
Yeah.
say the same for a Tay Zonde type. So that's what I'm talking about as far
Right.
as,
No one knows Tay Zonde anymore, even like
yeah. And if they do, it's mainly for that, you know?
Chocolate Rain.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
so now what I might be saying is like recency bias because I mentioned Bad Baby and in reality that only happened 3 years ago. But I'm just saying, like that's quite a 3 years since, you know.
Hmm.
So that I respect your gangster there, you know, like, so shoot or shoot, you know. So
For sure.
yeah, for sure. You just have to you have to go for it, and clearly her and her mom did. So I respect that, you know. But I'm wondering about you though, because like I know you're into music,
Hmm.
you know, and I feel like I'm interviewing you now. But
No, it's cool, man. I'm down with whatever.
are you like you still rapping, or you like? Is there any artists that you've been fucking with lately besides Doji? Like,
Yeah, so like I'll rap if someone asks me to get on a song or whatever, which is like usually web or every like maybe like 6 months or
mhm,
something. I'll do one. But I got like a bunch of ukulele songs.
mm,
I was doing comedy consistently before this bullshit started. I headlined for like the first time on my birthday before this shit started.
Albert.
Fucking yeah. So that's what I was
Because we're
doing.
born on the same day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fucking what else? I had something else I was gonna say, but I forget. Go ahead.
Yeah, like about rapping. Yeah, that's what we
Hmm.
were talking about. I wasn't sure if I can just prompt you for what you were about to say, but I guess not. It's okay.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
it's funny because like I might say some eloquent shit, you know, but like, but then like some people ask me about like what I've been listening to, and I'm like, yo, like I've been fucking with Takashi 69 heavy, and people are like surprised to hear that, and I'm like, bro, it goes beyond the music. It's just like he's a
Mhm.
master at keeping people's attention, you know, and it's just like he's clearly like kill on sight, you know, he's clearly like a fucking, he's asking for it, but and I'm not trying to pin shit on anyone, okay, but like how many rappers have died in the last year and change that he's been, put away. We always thought that he would be the one, who would be kill on sight, whether
Mhm.
it's in jail or in prison or out of prison. But like, and I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead, but like, XXX gone, Max gone, Peep is gone,
Juice
Pop
World,
Smoke is gone, Juice
Pop
World,
Smoke.
yeah. But look who still can't keep a good man down. That's all I gotta say. Yo, he's out here, bro.
Yeah.
And like, well, what's today? The 30th, the 5th. He's gonna be dropping some shit. Oh, bro. Like, my man's been cooking despite
Mhm.
COVID-19. So I, like I even I don't take inspiration from what he's doing, but I think anyone can take motivation in what he's doing. You know, it's just
Right.
like stuff like that. Everything he does is hype. Like he makes you people feel stuff. And I feel like when it comes to passion projects with other people, doing their thing, whether it's on podcasts, whether it's music, whether it's making vlogs or whatnot, and people who are good salesmen know that emotional sales trump logical sales, right? Um, so if you can make people feel something, when you have
Mm.
their heart in the palm of your hand, you also have their wallet, or in this case, their time. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's just like, are people checking for you? Because they're clearly checking for him. That's something that I would be like looking at. It's just like, how do I get people to check for me?
Right. I agree with you with that shit. And I actually I fuck with 6ix9ine too. And I've
Yeah,
I've
bro,
been
I fucking
asking a
hate
lot
you.
of people on the podcast, and like so many people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, fuck him, he's a snitch," and they want nothing to do with them, and they don't want to support him because of
Let's
that.
talk about the bigger encompassing like reality of why 6ix9ine's a thing right now. It's because he's
Hmm.
good at it. Like let's keep it a buck. You know,
Right. And like I don't like even
playing the
with like the
game.
snitching thing, it's like I'm kind of on his side with that shit too, where it's
Ooh,
like
okay, okay,
those
okay.
like the like fucking if people like stole tons of money from you, they fucked your
Mm,
girlfriend, you know what I
mm.
mean? These aren't your homies and you're going to spend 70 years in jail for these people? It just
Okay,
doesn't
so
make sense to me.
I here's what I'm trying to figure out, because he essentially came to Nine Trey
Mhm.
and was looking for more of that, hood credibility, and I get that. I respect that. Cool, but at the end of the day, these aren't good people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people who come out of the streets like on not a gang level also lament the stuff that's happening there. and then they look at 6ix9ine and say, "Oh, I can't believe he snitched." I'm like, "Yo, he literally put away people who are bad people."
Yeah, exactly. It's like he was doing a good thing.
He's
Why are we?
admit, like,
They're
like,
murderers and shit, yo. Like
yeah, like
what?
that's RICO, bro. Like, do we
Yeah.
not know what that is? That's racketeering. You know, they're doing some fuck shit, and the whole syndicate got implicated for it. And we think that's like a bad thing that he did that. Like you want those guys trapped in right now? Are you kidding? Right now during COVID? Get the hell out of here! No.
Well, like that's kind of like the problem with like the culture makes like bad people look cool, right? It's like criminals and stuff are idolized.
Yeah, and I mean, to a certain extent, that came about furthermore during like the gangster rap era, and then things got cleaned up when people like Kanye got prominent in Drake and Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, people who were largely around due to predominantly their music, and that added some more credibility to rap as far as not just the gangster side of things, although that's the stuff I appreciate most. But to see like most white kids fucking with hip hop nowadays, that was a pipe dream for me back in the day when most of my white friends weren't. It was like you and Lever and like a couple other people.
Yeah.
So to see this now as the culture is cool because of the guys I just mentioned, but at the same time, things were brewing. When it came to some SoundCloud guys, some of those guys is hard. Like the types that be coming out now. And like we're gonna act like that like there's some honor in that. I'm like, if you're a citizen that didn't come up in that culture, which is actually the ideal situation to be not coming from that culture, because I mean gang shit's not like gangbang is not good. Like we're supposed to not venerate that stuff. We're supposed to denigrate that shit. So 6ix9ine single-handedly exploited 9 Trey.
Yeah.
Took him away. It's great. It's just like yeah, this is good. Like, isn't this good? Like, okay, the thing is, some people also feel like the level of chivalry he should have had for them is different, because once you get into the gang life, it's like you should know what you're getting into. This should be par for the course, essentially, for them to fuck your baby mama, or for them to steal from you, or threaten your moms. That should be all right. And it's just like, how do you live with yourself if that was all right? You know what I mean? Like, so it'd be crazy. Like if I heard some of these like conspiracy people be talking like, oh, 6ix9ine's like an inside job, from the government or something like that. That'd be pretty gnarly too.
Yeah.
But on the real though, barring all that shit, I actually fuck with the music. I think his music's sick.
Yeah, me too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, and it's like he's just like a marketing genius. I feel like he's like trolling everybody. It's like even just down to like his song titles, all just being one made up word that's like 2 syllables every time.
Yeah. Dottie, Gooba, Gummo, Tati, Bibi, Kiki, Kuda, Fifi.
Yeah.
And they're all sick. Like,
they stick in your head, right? And it's like you just naming all those off. Like I literally recognize every single one, and I'm like, yeah, like I've heard all those songs, and I've played them. It's crazy.
You got a favorite track then from Tekashi?
What? Like, I'm not like he's not like my favorite rapper ever, but I've been bumping Gooba just like crazy.
Gooba's hard, yeah.
I just love the part where he laughs in everybody's face, like as they're at ha 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 and shit. And it's crazy. He found like 6 girls that look exactly the same, and I was like, what the, like how do you find this?
You know what's really hard? Thick Thighs Twin Sisters, like, and the shot is of red and yellow. Red and yellow, I'm pretty sure actually twins. So when he says twin sisters, like he's
it is twin sisters. Yeah.
He's on. Like some of this shit goes over people's head, and I'm like, when he says some shit, I'm like, oh, that was actually hard. That's cool. Like why are you watching me? You're all on my IG. Why are you stalking me? You don't even follow me. Why tweet my shit? You don't even read my shit, bitch. You used to fucking leave me on scene and shit. I'm like, that's some real shit. That's, and I know you know what that's like. We all do, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, bro. People be checking for you, but they don't have the pride in them to follow you simultaneously. I'm like, you just hater, like, and he's like, he knows this shit, and this is why like the kids be checking for him, So that's relatable shit. So
For sure,
I
man.
rate it. What's it called? Like what's the one line in Gooba? Like he's just saying random shit like assalamu alaikum and what's it called? The Wraith Trucker. Like, damn, I'm just like, wow, he makes this shit sound sick,
Yeah.
I fuck with it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And now all my credibility's gone, Like,
I know. Everyone's gonna hate on me too because of this.
yeah. Man,
It's all good though.
and you'll see on Facebook, like I always defend them, not defend them, but I always say, yo, this shit's hot, And if I say
Hmm.
something about 6ix9ine, like people's mad, and I'm like, all right, yeah, okay, cool.
Hmm.
Y'all hating, you and your 9 to 5, you probably hate, but this guy's, getting it in, So who's
Hmm.
really laughing? He laughed at the end of the track, with a rat face, like you mentioned. So that's
Yeah, I
uplifting.
want to like figure out what is like the perfect marketing strategy for me and the skills I have, and to like brand myself as a character or whatever.
Yeah, bro.
Um, I don't want to get a giant face tattoo or anything like
No,
that,
no, no, no. I'm glad y'all didn't get in that deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
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 because like I'm seeing like that. Like now it's like face tats is like a thing, and I'm like,
yeah.
like, and I know Dylan knows this too, but like, frick, man, like I feel like it was Baby who made face tats kind of popping at first, Birdman, and I'm like,
Hmm.
and all these kids who got influenced by like the punchline rap, who did their like, who are now on like SoundCloud doing shit. That's like, it's like that, like one style led to another. You know what I mean? Because like 13 years ago, you and I, we were on like maybe like the Carter 3 and shit like that. And to see the evolution to what it is now, you're just like, wow, like this went full retard. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah. Wayne was like the first one for me, at least, that I saw that had like was like covered in face tats, and his looks sick. A lot of them look
Gucci,
stupid. Well, Gucci just had like a couple. I feel like Wayne is like,
yeah, it's true.
I don't
You're
know.
right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. That's for damn sure. But it's funny because like those are guys we were following. It's not
Now
like
there's
we,
tons. Yeah, I
but
follow
it's
the
not
new
like we,
guys too. Yeah.
oh no, I follow them too. I'm just saying that the kids now will follow the new guys as far as like all this, but we
Mhm.
didn't follow them, doing
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
too. That's what I'm saying. It's just like kids really. I don't know. It like, does it objectively look or subjectively look good for them? Is it the clout? I don't know. We
Some of
didn't
them
even
are
have
so
this platform.
stupid. They're getting like the stupidest things on your face, like a stupid tattoo on your leg or arm, like whatever. Like I don't know, you can make covered up with a black band, like worst scenario, but like on your face, man.
On your
Even
face is like it's a little much. Like
yeah, 6ix9ine has a giant 69 like on his forehead. It's like they're just so silly.
and what's it called? 6ix9ine with the 6ix9ine tattoos.
Mhm.
Like he has 69 tattoos. That's why it's funny.
Is it exactly 69? I think he has more than that or something.
Um, no, he has more tattoos, but I'm pretty sure when it comes to the number 6ix9ine, it's tattooed 69 times on him.
Is that true? I hope that is
I
true.
might be capping, but
Mhm.
like, what's
I
it
know he
called?
has that shitload of times. I think he's got it even more because he's got like a shitload of times in like really small, like all over his arms and shit.
Mm-hmm. What's it called? I know for a fact that like, well, I mean, he also had he had the jigsaw one, like,
Yeah,
but
on
like,
his feet, on his cheek. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
crazy.
What's it called? I'm trying to find a lyric right now, and or a bar, and I just thought this was like some of the hardest shit I ever heard. Where's this? But yeah, if you had something to ask me, keep going. But I'm gonna say something that is like very related to like what we were just talking about.
All right,
Um,
I'll ask something while you're searching. If
yeah.
you had, if you could pick a superpower, which one would you want?
Um, like it'd probably have to be with. I probably want like Magneto's powers. Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy. Somebody else just said the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
I forget who it
But
was.
with the caveat that I also have Sebastian Shaw's helmet as well. So like y'all can't read my mind.
Right.
Yeah. So that would be that's how I feel. Oh, okay. So I found it. So this
Okay.
is Lil Skies, right? The rapper.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah. Welcome to the rodeo. He said something like that rationalized everything we just talked about, and I really respect him for it.
Hmm.
I got tattoos on my face. I use that shit as motivation. I could never get a job, so for my dream, I'm dedicated. I'm like, damn. So like our kids doing that. So like this is like they had to stick with this shit. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah, if you
crazy.
have some dumbass face tattoos, you can't just get a job at Walmart or whatever. You
So
have
you
to
have to
make it rapping.
perfect your craft. You're
Mhm.
fucked otherwise, right? And when he said that, I was like, I was like, that's actually sick. I'm talking as myself, who's like a young urban professional, who might, not be fucking with the lifestyle like this remotely. You know what I mean? And but to see that level of dedication taken in something that is largely considered as fuck shit by a lot of people,
Mhm.
I respect that. I respect, I respect anyone who's hustling like that. So that's a real shit. I know you are too.
Right.
So
Yeah, for sure. And like a lot of these like rappers and like just artists these days, like I don't like their
mm,
music a lot of them. I don't like their personalities even, but I
mm,
do respect their grind and the fact that like there's tons of people trying out there, and if you're one of the few people that can make a living off like music and just even like being a personality. I guess like a lot of them are just like part of it's being a character in a sense, right?
I mean,
Like
6ix9ine
DJ
for sure.
Khaled and shit too, like just
Yeah,
people like that. It's like
yeah, because I don't know what his A&R rep, like what his A&R gangster is actually like. If he's that
Mhm.
sick behind the scenes, because apparently that's the kind of guy he's like. It's not like he's hella beat maker either. It's not like he's murder beats. But like to see him continue to be a meme to this day or to be
Mhm.
relevant, I'm like, okay, he must be doing something right. So um crazy. Like actually I'll ask you this because I kind of asked before, but like who are you listening to right now, barring like the Jodies of the world, or like what are you checking for anything else, or
So like music wise, I don't know, like I kind of just love like the lyrical lemonade shit to be honest. So it's like a lot of hip
oh
hop.
Cole, all right, yeah.
Yeah, so like I love Juice World. Like Juice World's like one of my favorites for
Oh,
sure.
so tragic, bro.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't even a huge Juice World fan. I'm a bigger fan now, and like I'm gutted to say it's because I checked most of his shit out after he died.
Right.
But like Juice World melodically was insane. Like he sounded good,
Mhm.
flowing. And I'm like,
And it's like I don't know, like he's different, right? It's like his
yeah,
there's like so much like emotion and passion in his stuff, and it's like
mm,
he didn't have any tattoos, and he wasn't like rapping, he wasn't hardcore rapping. It's like he was rapping about like love and like singing about love and shit, and
he was a good
but
boy.
also drinking Hennessy, I guess, stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
and
He
doing
was a good boy.
drugs, because that's what his life was, right? He was
Yeah,
doing drugs and shit to deal with the pain and whatnot, and it's cool because like I've never really seen anyone else with like his style or like anything even close to that. Like I
yeah,
guess,
yeah, yeah. His
but
approach was definitely very endemic to him,
hmm
which I like. Nothing he did musically felt, you know, like like you were uncomfortable with it. You know, it was fun to listen to Juice World, and that's why I appreciated him. Like, there's
right,
some people who'll make you think, you know, like XXX did. You know, like I think his music's straightforward, but I'm just saying the emotions that he conjured were definitely thought provoking.
hmm
But yeah, no, Juice is sick. Obviously, that's
yeah.
a good answer. Yeah, is that real shit?
What kind
That's
of
real
shit are
shit.
you listening to, bro?
I'm all over the place. You know this for decades
Hmm.
now. So I mean, I'll be checking for like new hip hop, obviously, because we're talking about it. I'll be checking
Hmm.
for like I'll still check for like gothic metal or K-pop, or I'll go to festivals still.
Oh,
I like a lot of stuff, but like I think it's very much because I like a lot of other things. Like I like a lot of things within music, which means I might like a lot of other things in general in life. Like I think with the array of topics we've covered, like I think you can see that, and I don't mind. I don't. Now I'm what's it called? now I'm what have I got into recently the most? I've been fucking with like a lot of deep house recently, believe it or not.
I don't even know what
Uh,
that is.
deep house, okay, yeah. Well, if you like house music, this is more of like just a groovier bass driven approach, but
Oh,
it's
it's
not
like a
deep.
whole genre.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool, sick.
I mean, ask your cousin; he would know. So,
Yeah.
well, I mean, he's been fucking with some tech house shit recently, and that's kind of and that's really next. I'll just say that, you know. So there's that. But I mean, I like that stuff. You always know what I have. So
hmm
I like dance music. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, me too. Like I obviously listen to Joel and stuff, and fucking I was like into heavy shit too, like fucking Born of Osiris, stuff like that. You listen to any
Oh
fucking
yeah, oh yeah, for
yeah.
sure, bro. Born of Osiris, like that's like. So you fucking with gent then, or like, or
With what?
you like gent music? Because like
Jet music?
aren't they gent? Their genre, like it's
Oh,
called DJENT. It's pronounced gent.
that's their genre. If that's what Born of Osiris is in,
Yeah,
okay, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Their shit's hilarious. You know, as far
Yeah.
as like breakdowns and open chords. Like I yo no, Born of Osiris is definitely hard. You know, like there's no doubts there. I didn't know you were still fucking with shit like that, but like that's good that you have been.
Yeah, like it depends, like just what I'm feeling. Like I'm kind of like you, where it's like I'm all over the place. Like even like country and stuff. I don't know why everyone says they hate country. It's like there's good music in every genre. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, yeah,
you gotta
I
find
agree.
it. Like
Yeah, totally. Like, and people will be dismissive of like me saying that I like dance music or I like K-pop, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, more for me then. That's what I
yeah,
say. You know, when people are dismissive of like me having a perfume channel, I'm like, oh, they're like, oh, like some of my more bigoted friends, they'll be like, oh, that's so gay. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think it's cool if I'm partying with like Russian honeys in France. Like, I think that, like, I don't, that don't,
yeah.
that don't, that don't sound gay to me, but like, okay, you know. So, yeah, no, I'm with you there. Yeah, I'm with you
Yeah, I've always thought it was cool, man. And you've been grinding with this YouTube shit for a long time, so it's
there.
sick to see.
Grinding loosely.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah,
I could agree with that. I've been slacking, but I appreciate the love. Like, I know what you're trying to get at, so thank you. Yeah,
hmm
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But I definitely have some work to do. I have like so much that I want to get out as far as art, you
hmm
know, as far as like, because like the stuff I want to do now are more thought provoking like discussions on the subject matter. So more often than not, people would be eh, like, what's the most complimented this, or what should I wear for this?
hmm
And some of the things I want to talk about is the the inspiration or the marketing or the business of things, stuff that kind of goes unchecked or not talked about. And I think that's problematic that we don't talk about such things, because we would actually understand everything else better if we understand why it came to be to begin with, you know. So that's something I will definitely get into soon. Yeah, which is kind of hard to say on paper right now, but like I might analyze a cologne and be like, okay, it smells like this, and this. But why does it
hmm
smell that way? What was the inspiration behind that? Things like that
mm
I will talk about. Yes.
That's awesome. That's very cool, man.
Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it. By the way, I'm admiring the set behind you. You know, with like
Thanks, buddy.
you
Yeah.
got you got like you got some cool shit. Like I respect that. I mean, I like art, so
Yeah,
um
I was before when I started, I had my unmade bed in the background for like the first like 10, 20 episodes or something.
yeah.
So
I
I was
mean, you
like, I
should.
gotta try to be more professional, try to slowly get better,
Mhm.
figure out what I'm gonna do. It is super interesting what you were saying earlier about how like you kind of need the name before you start the podcast, and like
Yeah.
no, I can't even think of like one person out there that I know of that's podcasting that doesn't have a name from something else.
Anyone you checked for podcast wise ever, more often than
hmm
not, you checked for them because of who they were rather than the podcast itself.
Yeah.
And that's why you have some thinking to do. And that's why podcasting is very unique, because you are genuinely, more often than not, seeking someone out who you were already sold on to begin with.
Yeah.
You can't sell someone with your cast. Like you can maybe, but
Maybe I'll
like
do something no one's done
well,
before, right? I don't know.
true. How many people have done it though? That's the thing. And the
Yeah.
thing is, you're also doing it in a way that it's like, to a certain extent, been there, done that, because it's hard to differentiate yourself through just sonically speaking, which is why I think YouTube is actually so easy in theory, because if you can think of ways to get people to perpetually watch content that is very endemic to you, then great, because you differentiate yourself from everyone else. That recommended section will grow. Trust me. There's, I believe it or not, I don't know if you know this, but there's so many big YouTubers from the Niagara region. So many. Like, I'm talking millions of subscribers that you might not be aware of.
Yeah, I'm not aware. The only one I know of is Adam Wickens, and he's got like 20,000.
Okay. So
do you know Adam?
Yeah. So I'm pretty much, I know who that is, but I'm pretty much almost there. We're talking that, but I'm talking millions. Like, do you know Steve Terberry?
No.
He's a metal YouTuber, believe it or not, and he talks about like guitar playing and all this other stuff, and he does it funny. He's from Ridgeway, I'm pretty sure. And believe it or not, he was actually supposed to be a touring member of the band Dragon Force, if you remember them, as well, which is insane. So
that's crazy. Damn.
Look him up on YouTube right now, Stevie T.
Right.
There's Matthew Santoro, who is from St. Catharines. He
Yeah, I know about him. Yeah. That's nuts. He is huge.
He's who made top 10s cool on YouTube, besides Watch Mojo.
Yeah.
And who else? Laura DIY. She's the biggest DIY channel on YouTube.
Yeah, Stevie Terryberry, is that it?
Yeah, Stevie T. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 2 million subscribers. He just hit 2 million. That's crazy.
He's like Ridgeway, Fort Erie, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Damn.
No, there's a lot of talent from out here. And actually, as far as people I personally know who went to art school when we were there, look up Anime Uproar. Anime Uproar. Those are my good friends. They live around the corner from me. Yeah. But
why don't they help you out and show you out or something?
They've been on my videos.
So how do you translate viewers or subs like that? Yeah, they got 800K. That's crazy.
So I'm gonna tell you something. This sounds really gnarly. The last time we collaborated, the only time we collaborated, I had 4,000 subscribers. They had 7,000 subscribers. I have 18,000 now. They're almost at 1 million.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Now, because I have a day job that I was working on getting at the time, and I kind of went hard with this because I work in sales and marketing. So if you're wondering why I'm so like black and white with how I see things when it comes to doing this, it's because of what I do. But trust me, people like them, they would be too. They also have a podcast too. You should probably speak with them. But
yeah, that'd be awesome.
They but when I see what they've done, because they put all their eggs in one basket in this, I'm like, damn, good for you guys. They're doing cons. Like they'll have like their own booth at Anime North and shit like that, So I'm so proud of them. I can't say enough about those guys. I love what they do. I'm not even a huge anime guy, but when I know people who are anime people and then they tell me about that channel, I'm like, yo, I'm the neighbor, So
that's crazy, man. That's so awesome. Sick.
Yeah.
Damn,
but
bro.
There's a lot of people out here, bro. It's not just your cousin, who's talented from Niagara. So,
yeah, I know. Yeah. Even like in my family, like my uncle was on TV and shit. He had a patent that sold for $1.5 million. Like there's some there's tons of talented people out there, and just even in this region.
I think that totally, and I think the one thing that separates talent from other talent is how you sell it. Again, some people have the clairvoyance to know that they are offering the world themselves or a service that is presented better through you than anyone else. And that's
Mhm.
it. You have to be the best version of you in whatever you're doing.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing this, man. This was great.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm over the moon that you asked.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to come off as like, like a savant or philosophical or whatnot. It's just talking black or white, with what this algorithm requires of us, or I guess this life to a certain extent. But I'm still figuring stuff out too. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm revealing something that's kind of like weird right now, but I've lost thousands this year, from the pandemic, as far as losing out on business and things like that.
Mhm.
So part of why I've been inactive, barring, inspiration and whatnot, is that it's been tough, but something I haven't bitched about because like I can't let that get to me. Like it's that's done,
Mhm.
it happened. There's people who are way worse off than me right now,
Mhm.
and one door closes, another one opens. Now I have all the opportunity in the world to do this YouTube shit properly. And so do
Yeah,
you.
exactly. It might be a blessing in disguise. You never know,
Yeah.
right?
And that's why I'm taking it as,
Mm.
I'm not very, what's it called, spiritual. So,
Mhm.
um, well, I believe in being able to do things myself and whatnot and having faith in that. But I don't feel like the world owes you anything. You have
Mhm.
to seize the opportunities as they come. So this is an opportunity. Mhm.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Hope everyone watching, wants to check for either of us, so at CascadeScents for all my social media. If you want to leave that in the description below,
Yeah, I'll
Sam,
link our YouTube for sure.
for
Um,
sure. That's not a problem.
and if you want to link everything else, like, I usually just link whatever people want me to. So like Instagram, just whatever,
Yeah,
everything you want people to follow you on. I'm happy to link in the
yeah.
description.
So it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at CascadeScents for everything.
Okay, nice and easy. Perfect.
Yep.
All right, thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you.
Peace. See
Take
ya.
care. See ya.